Welcome back to Sarah's Artistic Studio and Sarah Prouty Designs. And today I'm going to show you how to make this amazing orchid plant. So stay tuned. All right, everybody. So I hope you had a chance to watch my other video on how to make these flowers. If you didn't, definitely stop and go back and watch that, because these obviously are already made. And what we're going to do is finish making this entire orchid pot. Now, as you can see, from the front side, it's all nice and pretty and clean. From the back side, you can see the wires that are coming through. And I'm going to show you how to put those on, as well as have a stick, which I'm going to use a bamboo skewer. I'm not going to be very fancy on this. This is a bamboo skewer that I had gotten from a Chinese restaurant that we didn't use. So use what you got. You just want something that is going to be tall enough once you push this in to have the wire wrap around it, and you'll see that as we get going. The other things that you can use or will need on this particular project is some glue, and I use some Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. I never know which way you guys can see this, so sorry, I'll hold it this way. And I put a pin in it. It comes with the metal tips, and I put a metal pin in it to keep it from drying out. You need some floral wire, which what I had purchased was just this basic floral wire you can get from any of the craft stores. You may want to have some scissors on hand. You shouldn't really need them. You can always have pliers on hand, but you shouldn't need it as well. And then the other thing is cutters. Now I use floral cutters, and as you can see, they're a little rusty, but you don't need anything this heavy duty. Let me show you something. Some small just wire cutters you can get in any of the craft stores, hardware stores, whatever you need to cut these out. And it comes on, this floral wire comes like this. And we're just cutting small pieces off of there. So honestly, the longest piece we need, I measured with this stem. And I guess we could always put that on first, since we're gonna roll it out, and I'm gonna show you. We already made our flowers, so go ahead and check out that video if you didn't make the flowers already. We'll set this aside. We don't need that right now. These are the leaves, and then to put the leaves together, you just lined it up, fit the tips together basically, and glued them on there. So these are kind of pre-done. These are gonna make these cute little leaves here. We're gonna wire them up. All right, we'll set them aside. Might as well set them in the order I'm gonna place them in. Whatnot. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yep, got that. And we'll work on this little guy here. You need to decide what direction you want to have your plant going, and so this one's going in this direction, so it means we'll be putting the wire on the opposite direction. All right, so let's start there. That's good, it gives me a chance to show you anyway. I had wrapped this up here. All right, now this gets a little springy on itself sometimes, so hang on to it if you can, and then just unravel. Let's see if I can unravel a nice long piece here. Yeah. And what I want to do is kind of run it up the shape. Let's see how much I need and what I'm looking for. I'm okay if I do long, because obviously we're not using this whole thing. And since I'm doing this a little bit backwards, let me go this way so I could show you a better way. Just put your end to the end, kind of start forming it around. This will help you see how much you need. And when you get to the end, actually we're going to go longer, because we're going to be sticking it into the foam. So come out just a little bit longer, maybe a couple inches, 2-3 inches. Give it a cut. And that's all that there is to that. All right, we'll get this out of the way, so this doesn't spring in on me. I like to wrap it up so it doesn't all over. If you've had any experience with floral foam, you'll know. All right, set that aside. Okay, so now we want to start with this, and it is thin, and it is tiny. So this will probably be your biggest challenge, I think, of this whole pot. So you get through this, we'll do the worst first. Everything else, piece of cake. So what I like to do is just kind of lay it on there, give it some glue. Now, by pressing this in, it could potentially glue itself down to the table. So, let's see if I can lift this bugger up. And what I'm going to do is just kind of hold it in place, just for here. And we're only doing a small section here. And that's just to get it started. And I'll do a little more. I think I just rubbed it off with my fingers. So this is going to be the messy part for sure. Alright, hopefully I can speed this bugger up, but there we go, okay. I have a fan blowing as well, so hopefully it'll dry quickly. And as it starts drying, it's going to dry clear, so don't worry about that. Alright, while that's settling down, if you want to, just kind of pinch it so that that doesn't move while you're working the other more length of the stem here. Just kind of watching to make sure that that's not moving too much. And then you can let go. And then since I press that down, you can go ahead and glue this in place. You can do over, under, well, you gotta get under regardless. But doing a little bit over doesn't hurt either. Over the top there, kind of gives it a bridge. Again, a little messy. Gonna let it dry a minute. This doesn't look like it totally sealed up. So I'm gonna pinch that one more time. Alright, we'll give it a pinch for a second. And then I'm also kind of pushing up the paper from the bottom and help keep them together while they start to dry. And honestly, it's not holding a lot of weight. It's just gonna hold the flowers. The flowers are gonna wrap around the wire. So it's really the wire that's doing all the work here. Sorry, I got a sniffle all of a sudden. Alright, so while that's drying, kind of holding it down like we did before, let's kind of line this up into place. Give it a glue. And basically you can do one side and then the other if you want. It's okay if you over cover it like this, because it's just going to dry clear. So again, just pressing the paper up to it, make sure. Another thing you can do is kind of bend it downwards. It gives it a curvature that pushes the paper up to it. And then we're letting that dry. As you can see, it's starting to dry really clear. Alright, and continue to wind. Holding that with my thumb, just pinching that really good, just so it doesn't move while that part's drying. And then we'll start forming this section. Alright, see if I can let go. Start getting glued to my paper here. Clear my fingers off. And it doesn't have to be perfectly centered. It'll stick. It's going to do what it needs to do. Alright, I'll let that dry. Pinching it with my other thumb here. Straightening this out. We're finally getting to the straighter part, which is going to be easier. So this is the hardest part. We're going to let that, let's see, pushing the paper. Get glue all over myself. You see this part right here is a little up. Give it a bend so the paper is pushed right up against it. I need that kind of music while we wait. Alright, so I'm going to pinch this part, and then I'll try and get my thumb out of that glue here in a second. So come around the corner. I feel like I'm in a race. Coming around the corner to the straightaway. Alright. And form this into place as well. I think straighter would be the easier of the two. So initially I'd push it downwards just to glue it. And then we'll bend it upwards so they connect better. So you know, if it doesn't look like it connected, rub them together. It's all good. Kind of bend it downwards a little bit, pushing the paper up with my finger. Just letting that start to dry. So I can get the glue off my fingers as I keep going here. Alright, I'll hold this section with my thumb. Alright, come to the home stretch. I don't know if you guys are race fans. We like to go to the races. We like the races. We're just far away, just close enough to Daytona to have fun there. Alright, I'm going to pinch this. Push this upwards. Go ahead and give it a little rub. Kind of give it a connection. So, doesn't have to be 100%, however you're comfortable. Let's keep it on the paper. Bend it down. And it's okay, it's going to get a little twisty. Don't worry about that. We shall just keep it on the paper is all you need, because we're going to be twisting this up a little bit anyway. A little bit longer. Alright. Remember, we got extra length on the end, so don't get worried about that, because we need that to go into the foam that we're going to put into our pot. And I'll be honest, I forgot to get extra foam, so I'm going to have to I'm going to borrow from my other planter so you can see. Let me put it together in just a little while here. Alright, squeeze and pinch, bend it down, push the fabric, push the paper, give it a little upward bend so that it's touching. And last little bit. Oh, you can see this. You see it's not touching the paper quite yet. There we go. I'll hold it upwards. Get over there. So you can kind of use your fingers to guide it. And let that dry for just a minute. Let's see if I can pinch it right there. There we go. And then I got this little extra length here. That's just going to stay just as is. You see all the glue sticking to me? Alright, let me set this aside for a second, let it dry. I'll pick this back up in just a moment. I'm trying to find a spot that, here we go. Dangle it right there. Alright, now for the leaves, kind of showed you that already. So basically, what we're going to do is similar. We're going to have wires going in to the pot. So I just cut some really short. Let me look real quick here. So little 2-inch wires, and so you can always use an inch into the pot, inch on the back of the the petal, the leaf. And for this, we're just kind of squishing it on there and then just letting it dry. Doesn't quite matter what direction it goes in. And it just takes a minute to start drying. Once it gets a little tacky, it'll hold itself, which is perfect. And we can move on to the next one. And I like just to do it on here. It may be a little long of a glue goop, but that's okay. And what I like to do is kind of rub it in there. Just let it sit. Scoot it. And let's see, we want to make sure we're going to put it down in the direction we're going to actually put it into the planter. So I'll do this. And just what I mean by that is, you know, you don't want to put the wire on the wrong end. Just kind of set it there like that. You can do that as well. Maybe roll it a little bit. Yeah, you don't want to put the wire on this end. You want to put it on this end, right? So that's all you're just making sure of. And if your tip gets goopy, just go ahead and rub that. Clean that off. Alright, we're home stretch of gluing things together here. And sometimes can't pick these things buggers up. My thing became magnetized. Makes it easier for me to pick wires up, but alright, let's see here. 2 more. And yeah, this is the front end, so that's the other part too. So if you do see it come over, and then make sure you know which side is the front side, which side you don't want the wire on. We want the wire on this side. Flip it over, and then add some glue. Lay your wire on. If you need to, you can always dab a little more glue on there. And then this one is going to, I'm trying to picture it up against this other one. It's going to be this way, so we want to glue on this side. So we'll do this, set that aside, we got our wire right here. And it's okay, it doesn't matter what direction the wires are facing in right now, because we're going to adjust it, so don't worry about that. Okay, did I cut extra wire? Apparently I did. Well, I was thinking of using it for these. These are actually the little orchid buds that are the babies. Alright, so here's, it's all dry. Well, it's 99% dry. Dry enough for us to manipulate this a little bit, make it a little bit more flat. And set that aside, and then look how cool. So because these have a little bit of weight to them, this is going to help keep the paper from bending completely over. Alright, now I'm going to take a pause for a second here, and as you can see, previous ones, I'm going to pull these out because I need the foam to show you. And that's okay. It's all good. How easy it is to put together and take apart. Depending on if I glued the top on, which I don't remember if I did. I might have. I did, but that's okay. Alright, so we have our foam as well. So that was the other piece you needed. This is probably a 3.5 inch by 3 inch size. And you can cut it however matches your pot, which should be the same, of course, but you know, always tweaks. There's always seem to be tweaks in projects. Okay, so while these are drying, we're going to set this aside. I should have done them over on the side here. Most of these are pretty dry. You can see they're almost clear. This one's still a little white, so I don't want to mess with those just yet. We're going to make the pot next. And so for the pot, you have 3 pieces. This is the main pot, this is the lid, and then this is a base on the bottom. So let's go ahead and start with the base. You see all the score lines in here. Basically, what we're going to do is just fold it, and then fold it in again. Fold the tab. We're just getting those creases going on here with all these score lines. The tabs will be inwards, and they'll go like this once we get there. Alright, so actually just go ahead and do the score lines, fold it in, score line, fold it in on the tab. And now we can start gluing the tab. And then we're going to do this, and then so we did the tab up against, so I can show you this. Do the tab up here, and then just kind of line these 2 sides up, and then pinch it with your thumb. And then what I want to do is go ahead and put just a hair bit of glue right here, and we're going to get this edge together. And what this is going to allow us to do, depending on which side we decide, generally if this side glues up to the bottom of the pot, then we have a lip here to glue it to. But you can always use this as the piece that glues to the bottom of the pot. It's up to you. What I was thinking from a weight standpoint is you could get like a rock or something. Now we're doing the second tab here. Stop for a second here. We'll line these up, pinch it in there. You could put a rock in there for weight if you are nervous about it falling over. But again, it's paper, so it's up to you. I'm not going to put weights in it today, but it is an option for you. Again, glue the top, push that over. Now for this one, because it's the last one, go ahead and glue both tabs just so it's on there. We're going to fold it up. Go ahead and push into one tab at a time. You can see that. And then we'll do this tab. And again, we're pushing it in. We're lining up these edges just so they're not going over, which is good, because otherwise it'll just look like it's hanging over. You might want to try and clip it, you know. All right, and so a little bit of glue. This one I popped up by accident. Do a little more glue, a little glue again on the edge, and just start pinching. Wipe off the extra, pinch it, and honestly, if you're going to use this going upwards, you're not going to see it anyway. So, all right, and that's our base. So we'll set that aside. The next piece we can do is the lid. Again, just fold the score line at the score lines. The bigger portions here. We'll do the tabs in a second. All right, score lines, tabs, same thing. Bend it in. It's going to go on the inside. So bend it in. Put some glue. Line it up. Push it. And then just pinch it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend these in ahead, just because once you get to the end, it's always a little bit harder. All right, so everybody's pinched. A little bit of glue. Line them up. Pinch it. Just give them a second there to start adhering. Move on to the next one. If it pops up on you, just pinch it again. You know, it just means it wasn't ready to be set or tacky enough yet to hold together. Push them to the edge, pinch it. Last one. Squeeze a little glue on there. Line it to the edge, pinch it. All right, that is going to be our lid. So we're going to set that here on the side. Now we can work on our pot. Glue off my fingers. So from pot, I don't know if you can see all this glue on here or not, but all right, so score lines, tabs. So we're going to do the same thing. Do it in the same direction as you're folding the score lines. So if you're going to fold it upwards, fold also your tabs upwards. I hope I stay in camera view for you. Now just pinch it, grab your tabs, fold them upwards, or I should say inwards, however you want to say it. All right, look at this, almost there, right? Same process. Put some glue on your tabs. Oops, you stay over there. Line it up. It's got a little bit more runway here. She also got a little more length to try and keep lined up. So I'd say line up the bottom and then just push it towards the top. Line those up. I'm using my finger. It's kind of a press. Kind of like we press the whole length of it at once. And then just hold it for a moment. Move on to the next tab. And again, it hasn't popped up, but if it does, just press it down again until it stays together. Again, line it up. Maybe you can do it with this. Kind of do both fingers. This way you got full length going on. What I'm trying to do is make sure the edges line up. Again, otherwise you got extra paper hanging over. And so I'm just pushing it. Move on to the next one. And honestly, we are almost done. Just a couple more tabs and then we'll put the foam in. And we're so close, so close. So what I'll do is I'll put the base on next. There you go, last tab. Line it up. And give it a press. Get my finger down in there. Interesting time. Lining that last one up. There we go. Give it a little press. And pinch it, because I see some little bubbling there, and just kind of pinch it down. And there we go. Cute. So we have our pot. let's put the base on. And like I said, you could put marbles, rocks, whatever in here, because we're gonna glue it to here. Or you can do it like this. It's up to you how you want to do it. But I put these tabs in here because I knew before I was just I just had the edge and I didn't have the tabs, and I really wanted something a little more to adhere to the bottom. Now for this, you can do it this way, and it's not the same size, so you can just kind of eyeball it. Just see how much space is on each side. Just kind of make it as even as you want, as even as you can, and then just kind of press it down, but do it gently, of course, because it's paper. You can go inside and just rub your fingers around the edges if you'd like. And then honestly, we're gonna let this sit for just a moment. And we can go like this and start working on our inside. So let me move the lid for a bit. And then, since we already had this cut to the right size, squeak it in there. There we go. And even though it's exposed a little bit, that's the reason for the lid as well. I'll show you here. Is this lid is cut a little bit larger than the actual planter, so that it helps stabilize it. And you can leave it just like this, or you can glue it in. Look at that. We have our pot. I love this pot. It's so cute. At this point, I don't have moss, but if you wanted to, you could glue a little moss on here and, you know, make it look greener and stuff. It's all up to you. Next, what do we want to do next? Let's work on, the main flowers. All right, so we have our pot. It's all lit in there. And what I'm just trying to do is get all the paper kind of coming the same direction right now. Flatten this out a little bit, and we're going to take this, and we're just going to kind of eyeball the center and just push this down right in the center. And I'm pushing it down so I just get the greenery inside there. Okay? And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go off center just a little bit. Go a little to the right because it's leaning this way, because we're also going to be putting in our chopstick there. You can use a bamboo skewer, a little metal rod. It's up to you. It's just the floral foam wire is too thin. If you had a thicker gauge, you could use that as well. So there, see how that looks. What I'm going to do next is go ahead and in the center where I was starting out, let's see, maybe a little to the off center to the other direction. Push this in just a little bit. Doesn't have to be crazy. And then I am going to, you know what we can do, just so that we keep our whole view, is one of those pieces of wire we had extra, is tie it. You know how when you have a real orchid, you tie it up to a plant stake? Same thing. It's the same thing. So I'm just going to pinch and twirl it a little bit. If you want to, you can cut the extra off. You could always glue it down to the stake. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to help it. We're going to try that. What I may end up doing, I'm going to try to do this really tight, which actually, good time to have your pliers, is to just kind of pinch it and twist it. It just helps get it really tight up against that piece of wood. And then just kind of poke it downwards. All right. Let me see, what does that look like? That looks like this. All right, so it's just holding it to the stake to keep it stable. And we can always play with the direction of the paper here afterwards. And then we're going to work on, I'm going to go ahead and kind of glue, put a little bit of glue here to hold this lid on a little bit. And because it presses into the pot part, I don't know how well it'll adhere. Go ahead and wipe the excess off there. You see how like that's poking inwards? May not give a good seal. but it'll help a little bit. I think enough for what we want. A little bit extra. And then I'm just running a bead all the way across. Let's see if it'll help us out a little bit to keep that together. Now I'm going to try and do this on a little bit of an angle. So I'll be going back and forth. So what I like to start with is the big flower, the important one. And I'm going to place it kind of like right here. And what you don't see, see if I can get to the back side, so I just kind of went and put the wire on the back, paper on the front. All I'm going to do is get it really close. And again, if you didn't watch the other video, watch it so you can see how I put the wire into the flower. And then for now, I'm just going to wrap it. And then you just repinch it. We can do this later to make it a little more pretty. The wire has a little bit extra hanging off here. So what I'm going to do is cut it. Do the flat side to the back. It makes it smoother. Just give it a cut. Good to go. Again, my cutter probably is overkill for that, but it's used in making floral designs, and I use a much heavier wire. All right, so here's what we have right now. Let's go ahead while we have the visibility. We're gonna put these buds on. Check them really quick. Which way you want, and actually still have, and I'll show you this. See, there's a little line here, so we can take, that can come out if you want to. You don't have to. It's just kind of that little, gives it that little extra budding look, in my opinion. I don't know. You tell me in the comments what you think. Leave it in there, take it out. And tearing up there. Alright. A little bit of weeding done. Alright, so I'm going to glue these onto the green area here. And generally, actually that's way too much glue, but that's alright. I'm going to glue it to this paper here, and you can go back as far as you want. You can go right to the tip. It's up to you. And bend it this way, see what I'm doing? What I try not to do is actually put the green showing in the hole that we just made. Alright, just rub it in. Show me the back side, of course. Set that down. Then we'll go to the next side. So the biggest side, biggest bud, closest to the big flower. And then these have score marks in them, but not enough to take them out, like we did with the other one. So the next largest size will go here on this one. And so you pinch it. And again, you can go as far out or as far in as you like. That's it. And the side that has the score mark will be on the outside. I don't know if you can see that. See that tiny little line there? And then these last two little nubs are going to be for these smallest ones. Again, pinch it. Just kind of settle it into that glue. It'll dry. It'll get tacky pretty quick. It'll dry pretty quick. Trying to hold it here in my hands. Pinch, pinch. Let's see with this breeze if it hangs on. I'm not a fan. I want to see which side has the right score line. I'm going to go in that direction. So it's on both sides. So, alright, last one. I'm going to pinch it. Oops. Shaky little bugger. Could be me not having enough coffee. Alright, we're gonna let that sit for a moment. And then you can look at your flowers. And this is the second largest, and then these are the smaller ones. So think I want to put them in this order. And because next to the largest would be the next largest flower. No real need to poke and tweak on these right now, but alright, I'm going to set that up and you can see how that's starting to look. And so let's do the next one. The good thing is it's got a little play being on a wire. Alright, next largest is this one. And let's see where we're going to go here. Probably going to go and glue this one to the back of this large leaf here. Let's try to see that long one here. Let's go ahead and shape it so that it lines up. I don't want it visible. Yep. So it's short enough to where we can glue it on here and it won't show up on the other side. So that's good. And even if it was long enough to show up, we can clip it. Not too worried there. Alright, gluing that in place. A little too much glue, I'm sure. And so we'll do it like we did with the other. We'll bend it upwards and bend it downwards. Push, 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 push. Just like it's tacky. So this one's trying to come off. I have to do this particular one in a little bit of sections here. She's trying to hold Captain. Just being a little stubborn and sticking to me. Alright, get some glue off of me here. So I can get back to that. Alright, it's getting tacky. Since I rubbed so much off, I'm going to put a little more on. Alright, again, wipe off the tip. And we're going to let that settle in for a second. Clean our fingers off. The other two, as you can see from my other one, kind of make our way downwards. Almost there. This happens to be a leftover metal rod from a plant stake or something. So yeah, use what you got. Nothing fancy. You can get green ones. You can paint this green. You do whatever you want with it. All right, that's close. All right, close enough to stand up. Now we're gonna bend it into place in a moment. As you can see, it's trying to. It's trying to come off. So let's see here. I like doing it live because that way you can see whenever someone runs into problems, like what's the solution. So we're going to get this to stick on here. So let's try and let's see if I can. That's too far over. We're going to find it. We're going to let this glue. We're going to let this dry on here just a little while longer. All right. Do some more fancy work with it. I think what I might do is either use this or use another wire to tie it to the pole so that it doesn't try to bend itself downwards. But while that's drying, I'm going to leave this, and what I'm going to do is put the next flower near, probably near this guy here. Yeah, I think that's the best place for it. And again, like the first big one, just kind of doing it to where the paper is on this side, wires on this side. Go ahead and kind of open yourself a loop. Bend it upwards. Kind of just wrap it around a couple of times. It's so lightweight, it's not gonna go anywhere, but it just keeps it from having it a little bit taut. Just kind of keeps it from trying to like turn sideways on you. Again, you can trim the little excess off. And if you're enjoying this so far, definitely like, subscribe, do all the things. And if you haven't bought this pattern and you want to do this now that you've seen it, go to my shop on sarahproutydesigns.etsy.com. Alright, we're going to handle this guy in just a minute because he's kind of hanging in the breeze there. I just wanted you to see. And we're not going to bend it yet. So the next one, and see how this one's a little sideways? Not any problem. You take it and just kind of bend it upwards, and then we'll play with the petals here in a little bit. The next one we're going to put a little further down, but like right here. So let's put it back over. And it's not so much as fragile, it's just, I don't know that's 100% dry yet, so I don't want to go crazy with it, you know, tossing it around everywhere. Again, we're just going to loop it. So if you want to, because you know it's already going to be a loop, just kind of pre-loop. You got to get out of your own petal ways. So kind of bend it back a little bit of loop, catch it on there. And now you know your see how this is kind of forked? That's going to kind of face downwards, so that'll help you guide you in how you line it up initially. Again, it's wire, so we can bend it around however we want to. This one's pretty short, so I'm just going to kind of squeak, you know, keep wrapping it around, and I can give it a little pinch maybe. Let's see if I can do it with my fingers. Or just use that to kind of see this little piece that's sticking up. I don't want anybody to get poked. So just kind of pushing that downwards. Again, tiny little nub there. Do a little trim on that, nothing crazy. Alright. Alright. So let's see how this guy's doing. It's doing okay. I think what I want to do is maybe glue it to the stake. Let's try it. Why not? Reason being, I know it'll hold the wood, but it'll give the whole plant more stability. So go ahead and just give that some glue in the back, kind of line it up with the stake. And you see that? And just kind of give it a pinch. And we're just going to hold that for a moment. Get them connected up. And pinch these. Pinch the petals. Just this. Do a little twisties to make everything look cute. See how we're doing? Nope, not dry yet. Alright, this one's going to have to get to the dry point. Alright, I'm going to cheat a little bit. Well, I'm going to get inventive. Let's put it that way. Because this is wire, and this is a little piece of wood. Let's take one of my extra pieces of wire. And if we did this first, we wouldn't have needed the glue. Honestly. So what you do is do like we did before. Just kind of pinch it into place. So I have it around the wire and around the wood. And now, this is a good time for my pliers, just to grab both ends and just twist it. Just to get it tight. And again, we're going to get rid of these nubs. Be careful not to cut your loop, because then it'll snap off. And you'll have to start again. No big deal. Alright, actually I'm going to get rid of these long ones too. We don't need that. Alright, so now this, and the glue, that's fine. It's going to hold it in place. And look. Look how awesome. We're almost there. We're almost there. And then you can print these up. Like I said, watch my other video. How you can primp up your petals here. And we're just pinching them, lifting them, all that good stuff. Alright, so now we're up to the leaves. I'm going to set this like this. And actually that held on pretty good, so I like that. It didn't lift up a lot on us. If you want to, what I would say, excuse a little glue mess we got going on here, is look at the example, and just lay out your leaves kind of the way that example is, if that's how you want to put them on. You know, if you want to do the same. This goes here, this one goes here. Alright, and you're like, well wait, these are all in weird shapes. They are. And it's okay. What we'll do is we'll start in the back, and you take this one here, see how it's all clear? But we want the leaf to look like this. So what you do is just hold this and just kind of use your fingers and bend it downwards. And then as you bend it, we know we want this in the back. So go towards the back of the foam, poke it in, go down till the paper is touching the foam, and then you're good. Same for the next one. So start in the back, kind of go to the middle, poke it in, and if you find, because that one's so big, that it's blocking your view of your other one, you can adjust it. You can adjust it by the wire, you can adjust it by location, and then this last one's meant to be up front and kind of hanging over. So maybe like that. How cute. And you can always put these in first, and then go ahead and put in your moss after. So I'm just going to do this. Okay, I'll bend this downwards. I'm just going to know, because I know I want to bend them downwards. Do it up front so I can hold this and show you. Get your little wire because it's so thin. Hang on to it, kind of give it a tuggy tug, push push. It may try to bend, so that's why I'm kind of holding it the way I am. And last one towards the front. And I guess for this particular one, I do recommend some moss there. But there you have it, all done. That's it, and I hope you enjoyed making that orchid flower plant with me today. And of course, again, if you didn't make it with me this time and you want to make it yourself, then go to sarahproutydesigns.etsy.com, and I will see you soon.